Hey guys, been promising a video update here for about a week and just haven't gotten around to it, so I apologize. For those of you that didn't see the news on Facebook or otherwise, Emerson came home on Monday. Um, his various saturation levels of the anti-rejection drug tacrolimus had stabilized, and that was what the final hurdle was for him to come home. So he came home. It was a wonderful homecoming, and he was really excited and uh, burst out crying when they told him he could go home, and he was really happy. So it was neat, and it's good to all be back home together. Um, so last week, Thursday, a week ago today, he had his first biopsy of his heart, and they take a little sample of the tissue, and what they're doing that for is their gold standard method to judge the level of rejection of the heart by the body. I didn't know any of this, of course, until you're faced with it, but I always thought that was just your body rejected an organ or it didn't reject an organ. It was kind of a plus or a minus kind of thing, but that's not the case. They actually have a 4 or 5 tier grading level for the level of rejection that a transplanted organ has. And what they do is they look at that biopsy in the microscope, and they can I guess, count or judge the number of white blood cells or antibodies that are attacking that heart tissue. And so they score the level of rejection based on the amount of white blood cells or antibodies that are present against the heart muscle cells. Obviously, the body feels like this foreign heart is a foreign invader and is trying to treat it like an infection or something that needs to be fought. And so that's the body's response to a transplanted heart, and that's why he is on numerous various drugs to suppress his immune system so that his body will not fight the new heart. Um, the average lifespan of a transplanted heart, I think, is about 19 years if you take out all the ones that don't make it for the first couple of months or weeks or years. I think it's about 16 years, but if you take out all the ones that just don't make it for other various reasons, it goes up to 19 years. And I always thought that was odd. What about a transplanted heart um, is so different than a normal heart that they don't last as long as normal hearts do? Well, that is the reason, is that these hearts basically are constantly, every day of their life, fighting some small level of rejection, breaking them down. And so they just don't last as long. So obviously, the hope is that there is very little rejection of the heart muscle, and you give them all these drugs on a regular basis and all these follow-up biopsies to kind of judge that. The greatest risk for rejection is in the first year, but it can happen at any time, and the level of rejection can kind of go up and down. And depending on what your level is, they might bring you into the hospital and put you on some more antibiotics or immune suppressants or however they treat that. So the wonderful news was in Emerson's first biopsy, there was absolutely zero level of rejection. So that was obviously wonderful news. Obviously, he's also on mega high doses of immune suppression drugs as well immediately post transplant. But the impression we got from the doctors and the nursing staff was that that was a wonderful, obviously the best outcome possible. One of the nurses had told us in reading his chart that it was borderline unprofessional. All the doctors chiming in about how wonderful and wow and exclamation points and all the various things they wrote in there that were kind of not normal for medical charts. So we're obviously very pleased and thankful for that. He goes back in for his next biopsy this coming Friday, the 15th, I believe it is. So he wanted 2 weeks, wanted a month, and then he'll have them maybe once a month or every couple of months from here on out over the first year, while the risk for rejection is at its greatest. And at some point in time down the line, if he continues to do well, they will start to wean off of some of the numerous drugs that he's on. So obviously very pleased, and just hope that the next couple of biopsies all stay the same way, that there's very little level of anti-rejection, so, or very little level of rejection. So yeah, I'm real pleased. he's doing great. He hasn't felt this good in 8 9 months, maybe a year. He's eating like a monster. Um, in the hospital, we were just happy to see him eat and giving him every kind of donut and chocolate cake and whatever he wanted. Now that he's back home, he's facing stark reality of mom trying to be healthy and not letting him, get away with murder from a diet standpoint. He's having to eat some more broccoli and that kind of stuff, so he's having to readjust. But he's doing really well. They want to limit some of the things that he can do for the first little while, and he was back at Hopkins today doing some tests, and they're constantly checking the saturation levels of the main anti-rejection drugs to make sure that they're where they need to be at. I guess the studies show that your risk for rejection is much less if they can keep that one certain drug at a very constant level, and that's what kind of kept us in the hospital for a little longer than what we wanted to be. Was his levels were kind of fluctuating up and down as they checked him every day. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Appreciate all your love and support and kind words, and it's been wonderful. But it's nice to be home, and it's nice to have my family together and have my wife home. It's a huge bonus. So look forward to hearing from you guys, and I suppose this will be one of the last video updates for a long time, I hope. Unless something happens, I'll let you know. But I'm assuming that we are basically out of the tunnel here and into the light, and obviously he'll have lifelong appointments and some struggles here and there with some rejection, I'm sure, and getting sick and being in the hospital. But I'm not going to keep doing updates every time he gets a cold. So unless something major happens, you'll probably not see another one of these videos. But I've appreciated all your feedback and appreciated you guys watching them, and it was a nice way to communicate. So God bless you guys. Feel free to reach out. If you want to talk about Emerson or have questions about him, feel free to ask. So appreciate it, and have a great day. Bye.